Bechoros Daf Nun Vav, says the Mishnah. We learned that you're chayiv meiser behema if you have 10 animals. But if you purchase the animal, or you receive that as a gift, you're potter, because it says in the pasuk by the parsha of Bechor, Bechor bonecha titan li, v'chein tasel etzinecha. Just like a Bechor, you can't purchase or receive a baby as a present. It's not considered yours. So too, meiser behema, you can't purchase it or receive it as a gift. But maybe the pasuk is talking about a Bechor, because the pasuk is talking about a Bechor. Maybe the pasuk is not talking about meiser behema. Well, it can't be talking about a Bechor because it says in the pasuk Tasa that it has to do with the doing of the owner. Only meiser behema is something that the owner has to do and let the animals out. A Bechor is born as a Bechor. But perhaps it's a korban chatas v'asham, or maybe a korban oila and shlamim, which is in a dava, or maybe even an oila sriya or shlamim that you bring on yantif. Says the Gemara, no, it can't be a chatas and asham, because chatas and asham come to atone for a sin and avera, whereas a bechar does not come for that. So it has to be similar to a bechar. It can't be in an oila and shlamim. They're in a dava, and a bechar is a chayva. You must bring a bechar. You have no choice. And it can't be a oila sriya, because a oila sriya comes at a very specific time, only right before yantif, whereas Bechar could be every day of the year. Says Rabbi Yochanan, this heter that we have, that if you purchase an animal, you're not chayiv in meiser behema, that's only if you purchased an animal that was already born. But if you purchased an animal, a fetus, in its mother's stomach, you're chayiv in meiser behema. So if somebody purchased 10 animals in their mother's stomach, you're chayiv in meiser behema. What's the pshat? Says Rabbi Lazar, and this is the second time in our Masechta that he says the same thing. He says, last night I dreamt that Rabbi Yochanan came to me in a dream, and therefore I know that I'm going to say a real good pshat today in Rabbi Yochanan himself. And what's the pshat? Because it says in the pasuk v'chein tasa. At a time that you could do the meiser behema, that's when you have the heter of purchasing it. But since it's in utero, it's in the stomach, you cannot take meiser behema now, so then you don't have the ptur of purchasing. The Gemara asks the question, because it says in the Brisa that if somebody purchased a mechusar zman, he's potter. Meaning, if somebody bought an animal that's less than 8 days old, you can't bring it as meiser, you can't bring it on as a carbon or meiser. So he has a ptur for buying it. But we just said that if he can't take meiser, then he doesn't have the ptur. So we must say, zu eina mishnah. Says the Gemara. Later on, we're going to learn in a mishnah that if somebody gave a zoina, a payment, an animal, that animal as a payment cannot be put on the mizbeach, but there's a situation that you could take meiser behema with it. What's the situation? If the person that gave her the animal as a payment bought it back from her. So the Gemara asked the question, what do you mean? You just said that if you buy an animal, you put it for meiser behema. So why is he chayiv meiser behema? Says the Gemara, ishtamititze. He simply forgot what we just said. We said that according to Rabbi Yochanan, that you buy an animal during the pregnancy, you are chayiv meiser behema. So over here he's talking about that he gave her the animal while the mother was pregnant. He bought it back from her while she was still pregnant, still a fetus. And memela, you're chayiv in meiser behema. Now the zoina herself cannot use it as meiser behema because we're talking about a goy, and a goy doesn't have meiser behema. And it goes according to the Abaya, who says that a kohen is not over, he's only over on a Jewish zoina because there is kiddushin that are chal. But on a goyish zoina, he's not over, he won't get malchus. At the same time, it says lo yichal zaroi. Only by a Jewish woman is there a chilul zera, but by a goyish woman there's no chilul zera because it's not even his zaroi, it's her zera. Says the Mishnah. And to explain the Mishnah, we need to understand a few small, short concepts. If a person gives a machzah shekel, he must add a small coin called a kalboin. Either one pshat is because we are concerned that perhaps the machzah shekel is rubbed off a little bit, so not to steal from the Beis Hamikdash, you add a kalboin, or it's the fee of the money changer. If two partners give one whole shekel, they have to give 2 kalboins. However, if one person gives for somebody else, like a father giving for his sons, then either one pshat Rashi, you don't give any kalboin at all, or you give just 1 kalboin. Shutfim, partners in an animal, are not mechuyev in meiser behema. So says the Mishnah, we have basically 4 cases. We have a case where a person is, the shutfim, the brothers, are chayiv in kalboin, and they're chayiv in ma'aser behema. We have a case they're not chayiv in ma'aser behema nor in the kalbain. And sometimes they're chayiv just in kalbain, not in ma'aser behema, and sometimes just in ma'aser behema, not in kalbain. What are the cases? So if the brothers inherited the Yerusha from their father, and they didn't divide the Yerusha yet, so it's as if the father is giving the shekel for them. So if he's giving the shekel for them, then we said they don't have to give a kalboy. But if he's giving the meiser for them, the animal for them, they're not partners because it's the tfusas habayis, it's the state that's giving it, so they are chayiv and meiser behema. But if they divided the Yerusha, and then they redistributed everything, and they became partners, then they're potter meiser behema, because partners are potter meiser behema, but they're chayiv in the kalban because partners who bring a machzah shekel or a shekel together have to bring a kalban. If they just divided the money but not the behemas, you're chayiv in both, because the money you divided, now your partners you chayiv in the kalban, and because you didn't divide the animals, so you're chayiv in ma'aser behema. But if you just divided the animals and not the money, so now you're a partner in the animal, you're potter from ma'aser behema, and you are potter from the kalbain because you're not a partner. It's the state giving it. The chiddush is, the Gemara says there's no chiddush here really. The chiddush is if they divided just the animals and not the money, you would assume that they're going to divide the money soon, and therefore they should be chayiv in a kalbain, kamashmal, and they're not. In what situation, if they divided everything, and then they became partners afterwards, they are potter? This is machlekes here. According to Rav Anan and Rabbi Lazar, it's dafka when you can't say that there's a birur. In other words, in a case that one brother got all the goats and the other brother got all the sheep, so you can't say retroactively that's what they got by Yerusha. It's obvious that there was a split here, there was a deal, they're like lekuchais, and therefore they considered partners, and partners are potter from ma'aser behema. But according to Rav Nachman and Rabbi Yochanan, even if one brother got goats and the other brother got goats, and one brother got 10 and the other brother got 10, they got everything exactly the same. So you could perhaps say, this is what the Irish, but both Rabbi Yochanan and Rav Nachman hold that ein breira. So we don't say retro. Brothers and Yarshim are always kilekuchais. They made a deal, and therefore they are like partners. They had to redistribute, and they're like partners now, and partners are potter from ma'aser behema. Have a wonderful day.